Good questions. Okay. So, how long have you worked as a bail bond agent?
I've been in the bail bond industry since 2004. I've owned my own company since 2007.
Wow. Okay. And what was that transition from working to owning?
It was basically my mom was going through a divorce with her husband, and I was working for him. And I knew if they went through the divorce that I was going to basically be the odd man out. So I had to go get my own business. That's how I got into it by myself.
Okay. And I guess having already worked at an agency, you knew that this was something you could do and own, or?
Yeah, I had not had plans of being a bail bondsman. I was in the Army up until 2003. I got out of the Army. Really couldn't find a job. Had been to job fairs. Almost took a job as a car salesman because I ran into somebody from the military that was at a job fair, and he said, "Come on down, try it." But I didn't really think car sales was for me, and I ended up taking a contractor's job overseas for a year. Moms being moms got worried because this was during a lot of the bombings that they were having in Kuwait on a daily basis.
Okay.
So after my contract was up, she was like, "You should just come home, finish your education, and you can work for your stepdad." And so I came home, and I started going back to school, working for my stepdad. And my stepdad was old school. A lot of his stuff was just handwritten. He didn't have anything in Excel spreadsheets or anything like that. So I kind of made him somewhat I brought him to automation, putting things on Excel spreadsheets and putting documents in Word. That way we didn't have to handwrite stuff. We could print them out. And at that point, I was kind of took over pretty much the day-to-days. And I realized that it was something I could do. And because I had worked overseas, I was able to save some money and purchase some properties as collateral. And the insurance company decided to take a chance with me and give me an opportunity to open up my own company.
Wow. And what you just said about insurance companies,
Mm-hmm.
because that's a piece I'm still trying to work through. Insurance companies are underwriters for bonds.
Well, okay, so you have, as a bail bondsman, you have two options. You can either become a property bondsman or a surety bondsman. Okay, a property bondsman means you own property in that county, and you're going to put it up with the county as collateral. All right. Now, it cannot be homesteaded property. It has to be property that is not your house. That the county can take at any time if you default on your bonds. Okay.
Okay.
And now, when you're a property bondsman, you can only write. You can either do property or cash. Okay. You can either, if that's the other way. If you have cash, you can put that up with the county, or you can put property up with the county. Okay. So when you put up cash, it's a multiplier. Okay, so if it's cash, it's up to 10 times as much cash as you have up. So if you put up 100,000, then you can write up to $1 million in liability. When it's property, I think it's like a 5-to-1 ratio. So if your house is worth 100,000, then you can only write up to 500,000. And then every county, I think, after every so many years in good standing, that goes up to like from 5 to 6 to 7, I think up to 10 for that. I've never been a property bondsman, so I can't be specific on that, but there's some type of form like that. Okay.
Okay. But
And
you're the insurance type, not.
yeah, I work
Okay.
through an insurance company. So when you work through an insurance company, it's every deal is different. It's like anything else. You negotiate it. Okay. So for me, when I initially got into it, they said, okay, you have collateral as property. You put that up as collateral for us, and we'll write. You can write for us. Some people, they'll say, hey, look, just give us $5,000, $10,000 as collateral, and we'll let you write for us. Okay. Every case can be a little bit different. All right. And in turn, you have to pay them a premium. So for every bond you write, you have to pay them a premium. Now, for me, it started out at 1.5%. Okay, and that over time has come down to 1%. Okay, and also in addition to that premium, you have to pay a build-up fund. We call it a buff. Okay, so for every bond you write, you have to pay a premium and you have to pay a buff. And in general, they're both the same. So if your premium's 1%, your buff is 1%. All right.
Okay.
So, for example, on a $10,000 bond, I'm paying my insurance company $100 for them letting me write it, and $100 that goes to the buff account. That buff account is your emergency funds. All right. So let's say, for example, you have a $10,000 bond forfeiture. Your insurance company expects you to pay for that out of your pocket. Okay. But for whatever reason, let's say something were to happen to you, you were to go bankrupt or whatever, they save this buff money. It's like an emergency funds, and then they start paying your bills out of that. But if they do that, they in general they take your license away. Okay.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you, because nobody has explained that yet. I'd heard the term power or the piece of paper that's exchanged between.
They're like checks. I correlate powers to checks, and it's basically we have an inventory, and again, every insurance company may be a little bit different. You know, some insurance companies, their powers are as low as 500. Mine, they're no lower than 1,000. Okay, but you can only write up to that power amount. So if you have what we call, for my insurance companies, they're called T1s, which are $1,000 powers. T5s are $5,000 powers. That means I can write a bond up to $5,000 for that power. Okay? In general, they give us, T1s, T5s, T10s, which are $10,000, T25s, which are $25,000 our inventory, and we use them depending on the bond amount. If I have a $50,000 bond, well, I can't write that on a $10,000 power. I have to write that on something at least $50,000 or above.
I see.
And what we do is we attach that to the bond, and it gets input into the defendant's case. And if that defendant were to miss court, then the judge says, hey, look, I got this bond and I have this power. Give me this money. Now, if it's a felony, we have 9 months to get that person rearrested before we have to pay on it. If it's a misdemeanor, we have 6 months.
Gotcha. Okay. And then so what was your training process like? Did you learn all this on the job, or do you have certification?
Yes.
Okay.
On the job, and that is one of the requirements in order to become a bail bondsman is you have to have 12 months of continuous work, and it has to be full time. And then you have to get a letter from the person that you worked for saying, yes, Jason Ayala worked for me for 12 months, and he worked X amount of hours each week, yada, yada, yada. It's just basically a letter stating that you meet the requirements and that you know all aspects of bail.
Got it. Okay, so this happened with you at your stepfather's before you branched out. Yes.
Yeah, when I branched out, I had to provide that letter to the county, to the bail bond board when I submitted my application.
Got it. And is this your primary occupation?
Yes.
Okay, so this is primary, and then you do real estate on the side.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what's the thing that you like most about being a bondsman?
I really, especially in the beginning, I really liked helping people, because sometimes it's nice to be able to really reach somebody and try to get them on the right path. I tell people all the time, if I lose my job or I lose my business because crime is going out or crime is going down, I'd be happy. I tell them all the time, I hope I never see you again, in this type of way, because if I do that, generally means that your life is not in the best position, and I don't want that for anybody.
Yeah. Okay. But what about the reverse? What do you think you like the least about your job?
You know what? To be honest, we're dealing with people that are trying to get over in the system a lot. It's never their fault. It's always, and sometimes it's valid. Sometimes it is exes and baby mamas, and that are making false claims and false charges. But sometimes, hey, I slapped her. All I did was, and I'm serious. I've had clients say, all I did was slap her, and I'm like, okay, well then, duh.
Yeah. Right.
But then after doing it for so long, it's really, to me, come down to our education system and our parenting. We have parents that say, boys, oh, that's just boys being boys, and I hate that term. I really do, because boys being boys leads to rape, leads to just talking down on women, leads to locker room humor and all that other stuff that I grew up with, but and it's an excuse to allow them to behave a certain way, and I don't like that.
Okay, so to make sure that I'm understanding right, you would say it's like that lack of accountability among your clients that you like. Okay.
Yes.
Got you. Okay, now could you walk me through a typical shift? So what are the tasks you perform on a typical day?
Well, right now I have employees, but in general what happens is we answer phone calls, we process a client's paperwork, i.e. after they get out of jail, they come into our office, we give them their rules that they need to abide by, stay out of trouble, keep updated contact information, stay on the good side of your cosigner, because if your cosigner doesn't think that you're doing well, they can come and request to be removed from your bond, and then we notify the courts and, stuff like that. So we may have to track clients that maybe miss court, maybe have to track clients on payment plans that are behind in payments and need to pay, or haven't checked in like they're supposed to, so we need to get them back on track with checking in. We get calls from the court to say, hey, look, such and such didn't come in like he was supposed to for his drug test. Can you have him, blah, 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 reach out. We do, just a lot of clerical, paperwork, payments and stuff. A lot of phone calls. Oh, my boyfriend didn't come home last night. Can you see if he's in jail? Stuff like that.
Okay. And what is your check-in policy that you have?
For me, my check-in policy is, it is case-by-case basis. Okay. So if it's like a little $500 DWI bond, it may be, it's always a check-in at least once. All right. And right now we're currently using an app where they can check in from anywhere, and they take a picture and it gives me their location and where they're checking in from. But if it's a bigger bond, I may say you're going to check in by the app, but you're also going to come in person. Especially when you're getting into the $20,000 and the $30,000 bonds. And again, this is going to be something that's going to be case by case basis. Every county is going to be different. There's some smaller counties where they don't even care if you come in at all. There's some companies where they make you come in no matter what, in person. So it's a company thing. It's your own policy.
Got you. And wow, that's really cool. So, well, granted, I've only talked to, you're the fourth person, but you're the first to mention utilizing technology, or like having an app where you can check in. So,
well, I'm gonna be honest. That's probably what has set my company apart. If you Google my company name, you'll see I have over 600 reviews. And for a bail bonding company to have, I think I got like a 4.7 rating, which is, for bail bonding, that's pretty good, because you're dealing with a lot of people that don't like you anyway, because
right.
they don't like the fact that they had to give you money, or that they have to check in, because you're not my probation officer. Why do I have to check in? Yeah, I'm not your probation officer, but I'm liable for you, And that bothers me, because there's a reason that we're dealing with the justice system. They're not trying to make it easy for a reason, because if they made it easy, then guess what? I'll just come back tomorrow, But they make it difficult because they don't want you to come back. It's not supposed to be easy. When you get in trouble, I've always been the type, if I did something wrong, my mom will tell you this. I would come home, Mom, I'm in trouble. I'm going to be honest with you, teacher's going to call. da 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 da. You know, and that's just been how I was raised. But we deal with a lot of people that, you know, they didn't have that. They didn't have somebody holding them accountable at home, and it's just, you know, they wait for you to get in trouble before they start praying to God.
Right.
And that's just, you know, it's, you know, those are, we all have, you know, I'm glad that it's happening. However, there's something we still got to deal with, and that's with the courts.
Got it. And now we'll switch gears just a little bit, but to get a feel for the demographic of people who use your services, I've been doing is asking people to tell me about the last 5 defendants you bailed out. And by that I mean their age, race, sex, and then if they're a repeat client with you or not. So.
Okay, what exactly are you asking me again?
Yes, that was a mouthful. Okay, let me bite-size it. So basically,
well, it's gonna be hard for me to tell you. Like, you know, I can tell you majority of my clients are minorities, but I can't tell you if they're, you know. And I would probably say majority of those are males. But I wouldn't be able to tell you like age groups and stuff like that.
Okay, and you did say that you're an owner. You have workers, so are you like less involved with the, not the day to day, but?
Well, I don't see the clients. The clients that I do deal with are the ones that I'm having problems with in general. If they're good clients, they check in like they're supposed to. You know, unless it was a big one where I had to give approval, more than likely, you know, I'm not having that to deal with them. You know, they come in, they take care of their responsibilities, and they go out.
Okay, I see. And then I guess just sort of like you just did that generalization. So like I mainly work with minorities. I mainly work with males. Have you noticed a pattern about co-signers or who people will offer up as co-signers?
In general, it's close relatives. You know, the way I look at it is if your mom won't co-sign for you, I actually don't want to. You know, because that's your mom. She gave birth to you. And I tell them that all the time. Like, look, your own mom doesn't want to co-sign for you. You need to really think about your life right now. You know what it takes for a mother to do that? Like, there's some mothers maybe that's easier than others, but most of them will ride or die with you till the end.
No, that's right. So if your own mom is hesitant, then what does that mean? Okay, I see. So what about you personally, though? What do you need to know about a client before you make a decision?
In general, what I do is, like, so if somebody goes to jail, we look to see if they've ever missed court before. If they've been in trouble before, how many times they've been in trouble, while out on bond before, do they have priors for missing court, okay? Now, if it's a new guy, he's never been in trouble before, you know, $500 DWI bond, I'm real lax on who to get the co-sign. But if it's somebody that's, you know, he's been in trouble or maybe he's missed court before, then I'm going to need a more secure co-sign, somebody who's more stable, more reliable, you know, preferably a homeowner because, you know, they're not going to pick up and go anywhere. You know, and again, family, because, you know, that are stable, been at their jobs for a while, that can show that they're not going to take off.
Okay, and these were, hold on, I missed it. These characteristics of like being stable, being a homeowner, this is for the defendant or the person co-signing, or both?
The co-signer. The co-signer.
The co-signer. Okay, and why is it the co-signer who needs to be these things as opposed to the defendant?
Well, in general, the defendant's in jail for a reason. They're not making rational decisions. They're not making rational decisions, you know. So we're like accountability partners, right? We're working together to get, I'm going to just say Johnny Joe. We're working together to get Johnny Joe through the criminal justice system. And I can't do it by myself. I need to have somebody I can reach out to. And I love the moms that say, those are the moms I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go. Because I know that if I call that mom, you know, she ain't got to worry about the police putting their hands on them because she going to do it.
Okay. And is it always that mom? Is there like a nut, or is it just?
No, it can be uncles, aunts. Because sometimes the mom is out of the situation. There are moms that have abandoned their children. Dads have abandoned their children. So it's, as long as it's again, and these are case by case basis. A lot of times what we're having to do is we're having to read people over the phone through conversations. Like I'm reading you from talking to you just like you're reading me.
Right.
I'm analyzing you like you're analyzing me. So, and a lot of times we have to apply that over the phone.
That makes sense. Okay. And I guess, and as an owner, how do you go about? I don't know the correct terminology, but how do you go about training your employees to be able to do this on their own or to be able to make these calls?
Time and scenarios, cases, and it's not something that I can just put on paper and say X, Y, Z. It's something that you get from meeting the different clients and what they're going through and the different cases. Because, for example, prostitution cases, I very likely will not do bonds for them because prostitution cases tend to have more of a high risk to run than anybody. You can do that profession from anywhere.
Okay, so it's a bit of, okay, I see what you're saying. So experience doing it, you're picking up patterns, you're reading people, and okay. What about the reverse though? Are there any red flags or any things that give you suspicions about certain people or arrangements?
People that come and try to throw money at me, that's about it, Oh, you $100. I got, let's say it's a $50,000 bond. Oh, I got $5,000 here, go get them out. But, they can't give you an address where they stay. They don't have any we can call in case of an emergency. Those to me are red flags that, they're just trying to get such and such out so they can take off. It's never, for me, it's never based on race or anything. It's really based on, what that family, so sometimes, and even the person in jail, we ask, well, what does he do for a living? Oh, he's been a painter for such and such for X amount of years, or he's been, here, oh, he's not working right now. He stays with his mom, and, or his girlfriend works, she's got 2 jobs, and he's running the streets. We do ask those questions as well. But again, I'm looking for stability because I don't want to have to chase you. I don't, that dog, the bounty hunter, all that stuff, that's TV. That's made for TV. That's not something I look forward to doing. I've had a gun pulled on me. Trying to find people and getting them back in custody. So my life is more important than that.
Right.
So I try to avoid those situations.
Okay. And I suppose avoiding those situations starts with the decisions you make regarding who to bond out.
Exactly.
Okay.
The saying that I preach to my girls is all money's not money, $1,000 on $1,000 bond, that seems nice. But if I'm having to chase you down to go to court and having to pay the court $2,000, well, that $1,000 is no good to me,
Got it. Okay. And so what we just did was kind of did like a general overview. And so now to just sort of give like a concrete case, I want you to think about an individual who in your mind was just like a particularly good client. And I don't need to know their name or their race or anything, the specifics, but I just want to know what were they like and what was like they came in and why is this person stick out in your mind as like being a good client?
I got a gentleman out one time for I think it was a sexual assault or having sex with a minor, alleged having sex with a minor, and he was a realtor. I guess what stuck out to my mind is that, I felt like it was false claim after hearing the story and how it allegedly happened. But again, I mean, he was always on top of staying on, checking in, never missing check-ins, because I get wary of the sexual charges as well, because, if you go to for that charge, I mean, your life is going to be hell.
Yeah.
When you go to prison for a sexual assault of a child, they call you a chomo, which is a child molester, and they don't allow you to do anything in prison. Not the jailers or the prison guards, but the inmates. So you're the lowest piece of what, and you get treated as such. So, but for him, he was just on top. He just stayed, made sure that he checked in like he was supposed to. I really like, the clients that, that are really trying to turn their life around. I just recently had one client, he's been missing check-ins, and, he's blaming it on not being able to see his kid, and he's just frustrated and all this other stuff. And I'm like, look, I understand, I have 2 kids in Louisiana that I have a problem with their mother, and, but the way in which he's going about it, he's just making it harder for him. And his baby's mom, she doesn't do anything. She can sit back and say, like, look, Judge, he's back in jail again. Look, Judge, he's doing this again. He's not, he wants instant gratification. He wants to instantly be able to go see the kids just because he said he's sorry. It doesn't work like that. Right. There's a process. You put yourself in the criminal justice system, now you have to go through the process of being able to see your son again. And I told him that, and he responded with, man, you know what? I've never had anybody come at me real like that. I didn't have that. And I was surprised he said that, because I was getting ready to get off his bond for his, he was being kind of inappropriate with my girls in the office by being disrespectful, And, but again, when you feel that you connect with somebody, you work with them, because at the end of the day, I don't want them going through this. I don't wish this on anybody, because it's not a fun experience. You're doing this research, but you're going to go home and you're going to be in your family situation, and you're away from this. You're not having to deal with this on a daily basis.
Right.
These people, man, they're going through stuff, and it only gets worse. And for minorities, unfortunately, it's just like, for example, when you don't have your, you get a ticket for driving while license invalid. That's a big expense for somebody. $200 or $300. That may not be a big expense for you or me, but for somebody, that's like $2,000 or $3,000, because that's next 2 weeks food.
Yeah.
And they're digging themselves a bigger hole because, I can't pay it, so I'm just not going to get insurance. Well, if I don't get insurance, then I'm going to get driving while without insurance. And my hole gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And before you know it, they get to a point where, I got to start turning to crime because whatever. And it's a lot of it is self-inflicted. But again, it all comes back to education and the examples that the parents were setting forth for them most of the time. Because majority of my clients are not educated.
Okay. And in that last description, it sounded like, so you're not the type that, like, if a person doesn't check in or miss a payment, just to jump straight off the bond. It sounds like
no.
Okay.
No. No. I don't do business like that.
All right, so you have like this policy. Okay, so very lenient, which is different. I've talked to one who was like, you missed, that's it.
Well, and you know what? To each his own. I'm not saying, but at the end of the day, I do want to do more good than bad, and I believe if I let them get through it, that hopefully they'll, not come back to it. I don't know. I just shake.
Yeah. And do you see any of that in your practice? Because I know you said, like, if you don't come back to me, then that's what I want to see. So, but do you find a tendency that a lot of your clients are repeats, or is it really just like new and different people each time?
We do have some repeats. We do. I had one client, man, he just couldn't. Again, it's so. I believe I have addictions. Okay. Some are addicted to drugs. Some are addicted to alcohol. Some are addicted to women. Some are addicted to this lifestyle, and it's hard to stay at home. I got a client right now. She knows what, but she just can't do it. You know, she's on drug testing right now, and she just pissed positive for marijuana in her system, and she knows she's probably going to go back to jail.
Man.
And she just cannot stay. It's an addiction. You want me to stay at home? That's boring. My friends are all Instagram live and da-da-da-da and turn it up. Get that lifestyle. But then they wake up the next day and they're guilty and they feel bad about their life and everything. It's a cycle.
Yeah.
Of it's sad because it's hard. It's like me, you know, I'm a little bit weirder than I want to. That doesn't mean at 9, 10 o'clock at night when I think of ice cream, I don't go, you know? Even though I know it's not good for me. Even though I know it's not good for me, right?
Right.
I just can't turn that bowl away.
You know, I hear you. I do. And let's flip the script to, I don't like calling anybody bad, but a particular client who was just didn't do what they were supposed to do. Is there one that stands out?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, he was a pimp.
Oh, okay.
And he was a pimp, and he was very manipulative. He even had me going for a second. And as soon as he got out on bond, he just didn't do anything. He always had an excuse and a reason as to why. Was on Instagram flaunting all his money at those girls. And he happened to be from the same small town as me. And that's kind of why I did it, because, you know, it's a small town. I'll find you, I promise. And sure enough, he took off, $2,000 bond. His girlfriend, you know, again, I normally don't check, but I knew where he was from, so I knew he wasn't going nowhere, you know. And he just took off, and he just, but sure enough, let me tell you right now, even the girls that I let go at my office, you know you're a pretty decent boss when the majority of the girls that you fire always come back asking if they can have their job back, you know. And even with him, after me, you know, we had not the best of conversations with each other, okay? Especially after he bombed on me, you know. But even then, he was still trying to play me by calling me on the phone and being like, hey, you know, I'm so sorry, and my girl will bring you X amount of dollars if you don't get back out. I was like, no, I just can't. You burn your bridge too much, and I'll give you breaks. No, but he was always going to be like that. And again, he had a mom that was just pacifying him, and he was the king, and he was, you know, never being held accountable, and it was always somebody else's fault as to why he was in trouble. You know, it wasn't him. It was somebody else's fault. He was pimping girls and getting caught with drugs and all these other things, you know?
Man. And have you ever gone off a bond or ended an agreement with a client?
Yeah. Have y'all surrendered bonds before? Yes.
Okay, that's the way it's called, surrender bonds.
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the reason for that? Is it you can't find them, or no payment, or like, why would you? Yeah.
Never for payment. It's always for failing to check in, failing to update contact information, co-signers like, hey, look, he's back on drugs. I don't trust him. Can you please release me from the bond? That.
Okay. And I was about to ask you who has the final say in offering or denying a bond, but is that you because you're the boss or the owner?
No, it's the judge, actually. I can say I want to get off a bond. Hold on one second.
Okay.
I can say that I want to get off a bond, but the judge can say, go suck on it, Jason, and you're stuck with the bond.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah. And I've had that happen to me here, especially in Harris County.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's there. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't mind it when a judge denies that. Let me tell you why. A lot of people don't know this. If the judge denies me being removed from the bond, and they miss court, then legally I have an out as far as being liable for the money. Because I told that judge he wasn't going to come to court. He denied my bond, therefore, I don't have to pay the courts anything.
I see.
And that's happened to me, you know, especially with these new judges that have come in, and that they've come in based on bail reform. So they think that they're doing me a disservice by rejecting my bond surrendering of bonds, and I actually just smile because you're doing me a favor. They don't know bail. They never took the time to talk to us either. So they're just going off of what they were told for their campaign.
And then end up learning the hard way. I see.
Well, it doesn't, to them it's no big deal. They don't even, it's not their bill. You know?
And that
this bail reform has actually cost the county more money than they thought. They thought it was going to save money, but it's been such a turnstile, whereas defendants are going in and out more often. What they call recidivism. They're saying, oh, it's, you know, once they get arrested, it's more recidivism. Well, now it's even more so because they know that they got an easy out. You know, they had a kid on tape. Oh, yeah, it's okay. I'll be out in 24 hours, telling the police officer. No big deal. And sure enough, he'll be out in 24 hours and he'll be breaking into cars again.
And who picks up the tab then with these PR bonds?
Well, the PR, that's where I'm upset about, as far as when they miss court on PR. You know, you want to give them a PR bond, that's fine. But they should go after them like they go after bail bondsmen. And what I mean by that is, when they miss us within 3 days, when in 3 days they file a civil case against the bail bondsman, okay? They have not done that to one PR bond yet. And that, to me, is kind of like I think it's some type of violation of my civil rights, because, you know, go after me just because I'm a bail bondsman, but you won't go after Johnny Joe because, you know, you should be filing a civil judgment against him as well. He signed a document stating that he'd be liable for himself, and they don't do it. It's not, you know, it's
right. And
you know.
Oh, what were you saying? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, I can't put it into words, but I don't really know what it is. You know, when you know something's wrong, you just can't. Maybe I don't have the vocabulary for it, but I don't think it's appropriate that you go after one certain set of groups of people for money, but you don't go after another set. You know, when you sign that bond, when I signed it, I'm liable for this. When they sign for themselves, they're supposed to be liable for themselves as well, and they're not being held accountable.
Right, and it almost seems like a catch-22, because kind of like you just said, so if it's on your tab and the defendant doesn't show up, you pay the court. On this PR situation, if they don't show up, the court doesn't have to pay.
There's no one being expected.
So either way, the court somehow benefits, and I don't know.
No, but the reason I'm saying it is because Harris County is losing out on a lot of money, because when they miss court, we were paid. Now when people miss court, not only are they not getting paid for people missing court, but those same people are going back to jail, creating more work for the jailers.
Oh, wait, okay.
You see, so they're actually losing money.
I see. Ooh.
It's a bad business plan. It's almost as bad as the United States Postal Service deal with Amazon. Where basically the Postal Service and Amazon make money.
Oh, wait a sec. Your phone is going out.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I just said it's a bad business plan.
And you were saying it's like what Amazon thing?
It's like the deal with Amazon. You know, their empire was built on, you know, and they with United Postal Service, where they get basically the UPS or the Postal Service pays Amazon to deliver their products. You know, And that's how he was able to make so much money, because he saved so much on delivery costs, and the United States Postal Service is losing money doing the deal.
Yep. We got a similar situation. That's crazy, huh? Because in Harris County, what is it all misdemeanors now are getting out on PR? How does it do the distinction?
They put it 80%.
80%?
Yeah, but now when they're having so many people PR bond miscourt, like the same case, then they're finally having to give bonds.
Okay. And have you seen any changes in your day-to-day practice or business with the implementation of this PR stuff?
For example, like, what do you mean?
Like has it hurt
changes?
you financially?
It's slower.
It's slower. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll transition. This is just like we're transitioning now to another phase of just practical stuff. So, like, what information do you collect from clients?
Name, date of birth, social, what they do for a living, where they work at, references, where they stay, that type of information.
Okay. And then what type of technology are y'all using? So you told me about the apps, but are there any databases, websites?
Yeah, they have different types of software, like Bellbook, Captura, Bond Tracker. So, it depends. There's some people where they're not using that. They're just using Excel spreadsheets to keep up with their clients.
Right. And
I kind of have things for that right now.
I've heard of Bond Tracker, but what's the second one you said?
Captura.
Uh-huh.
What is that one?
Uh-huh.
Is that what you're asking? It's
yes.
just another form. It's just another form of keeping up with people, keeping up with payment plans, keeping up with, we have to do reports to the insurance company normally twice a month, but no less than once a month, telling them how many bonds we've done and how much we hold them and stuff like that.
Okay. And then, do you ever work with bail agents or other agencies as far as like...
Yeah.
Yeah?
I got plenty of good friends, in different counties that I work with, because my insurance company may not have an agency in every county. So sometimes I have to team up with other people to get it done.
And by get it done, you mean like to what?
To get the bonds posted.
Okay, I see. But what about, so there's no sense of like competition?
What do you mean competition to go?
So...
What do you mean
competition?
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, we work together. We split the fees, and it's just, we work together. I've got a good relationship with them 9 times out of 10. We don't even do paperwork between ourselves, We just know, hey, look, and I'll write it down in my book, this came from such and such.
Right.
But in general, you do want to get a liability letter written between y'all so that they know if it does go sideways that you'll split it half and half, any penalties.
Got you. I see, and this is why I love that I'm talking to like lots of different people, because I think one person I talked to sort of said like, oh yeah, like it's cutthroat. I can't work with anybody around me. I've got people stealing my clients, and so kind of creating an atmosphere.
What county was that person from?
Harris.
Yeah. Okay. I can't even ask you who it is, huh? I can tell you what, whoever that is, they're not really. They're probably miserable people in general, because I don't have that problem. I don't care. I've stolen my friends' clients. It's not that big of a deal. If I steal yours today, you'll get mine tomorrow, and I'm not even that much caring.
You said you'll steal your friend's client.
Yeah, I did. No, I did. I got one good client over here, and And you know, me and my office will laugh about it sometimes. Like, oh, we got such and such a client, you know, because we've seen that they were on bond with them before, you know. Because you can see, you know, you can go online and you can see, okay, yeah, they've been on bond before, they've been in trouble, and oh, they normally use this company. So we reach out to them, you know, give them a little bit of a discount, you know, trying to make that money.
I mean, hey, it's business, right?
Hey, business is business. Hey, if you get hurt over that, then we're not friends.
I love how you said give them a discount, then laugh about it.
Yeah, we do. We do.
It's funny. Okay, so now I just have like 3 more questions and then we're done. Um, how how does your family perceive what you do, the work that you do?
Mm, I, I feel that I'm the, the financial cornerstone of my family. I'm the youngest of 4 boys, but I'm pretty much have always been the dependable person as far as overall. You know, like like I said, I got 3 older brothers, and I got 2 of them in the real estate as well. You know, one of them I had him owning his own company up in Austin for a while. He just didn't manage it properly. You know, he was spending faster than he was making, and you can go sideways real quick like that. You know, so in my family, we're also not very good at money management. You know, so but again, you know, so they perceive it. You know, it's weird you ask that question because my perception is way different than other people's. Like so I have a business partner in real estate, and you know, she told me a conversation she had with my brother, and my brother made a statement. I was surprised he said this. And he was like, you know, Jason has more money than God, and I was like, and I don't, I'm not, you know, I'm like far from that. I don't even know how that. I don't know if he said that jokingly, but I was surprised that was his perception.
Huh.
You know, so yeah, it's weird. I mean, you can ask us ours, but you really, to get the truth, you probably need to ask a family member, because what I'm realizing in my older age is that our perceptions of ourselves are way off from what other people, you know, like I have friends tell me, like, you think everything seems calm. In my head, I'm like a duck on water. Everything looks smooth, but down below, man, you don't even know what I'm going through.
Right, yeah. Okay. What are your thoughts about, I mean, you've gotten at it a little bit, but I can ask you directly now. What are your thoughts about the current state of bill reform? What are your opinions about PRs and PSAs and...
Well, I'm okay with PRs, especially on first-time offenders.
Okay.
I don't have no problem with that. I don't. What I have a problem with is you give them a PR bond and then they catch another case. You give them a PR bond and then they miss court. You know, I have a problem with that. If you want to really have an understanding of what the bail system is going to be if it keeps on its same path, all you have to do is go look at this municipal courts in the city of Houston, okay? In the city of Houston, if you have a warrant and you get pulled over, the cop is not going to arrest you. The cop is going to say, hey, look, you got some warrants, man, go take care of them. And he's going to release you because they don't have room for you in the city of Houston. And they've got so many cases pending, warrants pending, they're backlogged. And that's what you're basically creating right now. So I'm more about you're backlogging the criminal justice system. Therefore, more criminals are going to be more apt to commit more crimes because they're not being held accountable. That's what bothers me about it. I don't care about the free first time. You know, I don't care about that. You know, I don't make majority of my money off of that anyway.
Right.
Okay. Well, you know, and if it only took one time and somebody learned their lesson, great. It took me almost getting arrested for me to have to shake my life up. Okay. But guess what? If I'd have known I was getting arrested and getting out, I'd have been like, I've probably been more likely to keep going down that path.
And so then what do you think, when you take bail agents out of the equation, what do you think is missing? Or what do you think bail agents provide?
It's an accountability partner. You know, right now, the Harris County justice system, the criminal court system, is not adept to deal with this many clients on PR bonds. You're just a number to them. Now, I know for me that I don't have firsthand knowledge with these people, like on a regular basis, because I've grown enough to be like that. right? However, they see these people on a regular basis because every time they go to court, they got to come to me and bring me proof that they went to court. So we at least look at them at least once every month or every other month in person. Okay?
Okay.
And we can tell a lot when they're coming in. You know, I had one girl, you know, she was on bond for, she had a baby die. And they thought it was due to her situation. And she came in and, you know, she was high. She came in, checked in, and she smelled like weed, you know? And, you know, it's just not a good situation. And I ended up having to get off her bond for all kinds of other stuff. But, you know, she ended up getting pregnant again while out on bond. Like, what is that going to do to society? You know?
Yeah.
It's sad because that child is not going to have a chance to, unless he's the, you know, sometimes, you know, you do have kids that come from these bad environments that, you know, it's because they don't want to be like that, you know? But majority of the time, it becomes common. My mom went to jail. My grandma went to jail. Hell, one time I bonded out a girl, her mom and her grandma, all for theft. So it's just a sad cycle that we keep repeating, and finding somebody else to blame other than the person in the mirror is not the way to do it.
Right. Yeah. So if you had a platform, or if you had the national stage where you could set the record straight, or you could say the merits of what you do, like what is it that right now the media may be getting wrong, or
They were greedy bloodsuckers. We're not. You know, we perform a service. We keep people accountable. Sometimes we do talk people off ledges. You know, I had a guy. He caught a case. It was pretty embarrassing, and I knew he was thinking about suicide. And I don't think a pretrial officer would have been able to talk to him like me. And, you know, now he's married, 2 kids. He realizes that, yes, it was an embarrassing moment, but that it was only going to be a blip, you know? And that's what it was. He didn't lose his job. It wasn't the end of the world, you know? Sometimes we do need to be put ashamed. You know, I found now that this younger generation, they have no shame. You know, there is, you know, and this guy was shamed. You know, he felt some kind of way. The charge is very embarrassing. But it wasn't the end of the world, and, you know, everybody in the world wasn't going to find out about it. It happened. He learned from it, and he moved on.
yeah. And it also sounds like you're saying, like, right now we're caught up with the money, but it sounds to me like you're providing more than just.
That's the thing. And majority of us do. Majority of us are not. He misses out. I'm off his bond immediately. What the hell? Who are you? You're not. You know, you're dealing with imperfect people. You know, you gotta try to figure out a way to reach them. You know, but again, maybe they don't want to take that home with them. Because sometimes I do take my stuff home.
Because, yeah, I bet you do talk to all sorts of people and hear all sorts of, that's.
Yeah, I mean, I hear some, you know, some pretty bad stuff at times. And I have a child that, you know, I have custody of, and that I worry about, you know, because, I mean, there's some really, like, think about it. Movies aren't made out of imagination. Movies are made based off of real life stuff that happened. You know, all the sadistic stuff that you see in the movies, that's what people are thinking. You know, that's in their minds right now. Some people react to it and do it. Some people keep it at bay for a lifetime. You know? And for some of the stuff that they're doing, you know, a lot of these guys, they weren't bad people all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Something just set this off as a domino effect, and before you know it, you're an alcoholic. And you can't control being an alcoholic, you know? You can't control your anger, your rage, your desires, your lust, whatever your addiction is. And it's hard. And I'm telling you, it's we have a long way to go, and it seems like the further that we get away from Christ in our whatever religious belief you believe in,
Yeah.
we're getting away from that. You know, even our churches aren't holding us accountable anymore. You know, our churches are kind of making it, you know, a little bit easier for us because they want people to attend their churches, and if they hold you accountable, then they may not come back. You know, and I don't know. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm at that midlife crisis in my life where I'm starting to have that realization of what life really is. You know, and a little bit hopeless because I thought that, you know, we'd be able to, you know, move things around, and the new judges coming in, you know, I thought, you know, but now I'm just seeing that, you know, it's just like when I was in the military, you know, when we went into Kosovo, we went into Kosovo because there was this one religious group killing the rest of them, right? So we came in and we said, no more of this. But guess what happened? As soon as that other religious group got any type of power, who did they start killing? The older people. So now we have more minorities in the court system being judges, that just because you're a minority, now they're just automatically giving you passes and breaks, regardless of what the content of it is. Now I'm just giving you a break because of your skin color. You know, and I'm not in agreement with that either, because again, that's all it's gonna. They're not educated enough to say, "Thank you, Judge. I'm not gonna make this mistake again." Their mind is, "Oh my gosh, he just let me pass. I'm about to go do more drugs."
Yeah. I feel like we almost do not just with the justice system, but with a lot of things. We do a seesaw. Like it's real punitive, real restrictive.
Yes. And it's like, well, now I have the power. Now I have the power. And, you know, I mean, I don't think that Martin Luther King, JFK, any of our predecessors in the 60s and the 70s would be overly happy with what we're doing with our opportunity. Yes, there is racism. I'm dealing with it right now in Montgomery County. You know, that's an all-white county. They don't like us, period. But am I going to go make it worse by doing something stupid? Or am I going to give them an opportunity to get to know me as a person? Am I going to start volunteering in their community so they see me as a person? It's harder to stab me in the back if I'm giving you a hug. You know? And I'm trying to show that as an example for my son, he's going to have to deal. I didn't know. Look, you say racism, but you're racist to your own people because my son is light-skinned and he's not as dark as you.
That happens too. Yep.
So, yep. I mean, it's hypocritical. But we don't have minorities with a platform that are willing to stand up for it, because if you do, then you must like Trump too, and you're a racist. You know? And it's just not that. I'm somewhat of a conservative because I have stuff that I like police being around to protect. You know? And I understand if you're a police officer and you're constantly, it's like anything else. You're a pig. You're a bastard. After a while, it's hard to do your job in a objective manner, because you're expecting that to come out of somebody, you know, and they've got a tough job, and you want them to make the perfect decision in a matter of seconds. You know, when they have a family they want to go home to too. And in the city of Houston, they come on the clock, they got 15 to 18 calls to get to as soon as they clock in. When do they have their opportunity to get to know people and to get to know the citizens and to build a relationship with the community? They don't. Only thing that minority sees is when the cops come, somebody in my family is going to go to jail. And it's a negative. You're putting negative to it. And I was like that. I was one of those kids that said F the P's and, you know, blah, 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 blah. I grew up around gangs and, you know, all that stuff, you know, because I was kind of just left to roam, you know, as a young person. I was the fourth in the family, and I was on autopilot, you know, and I won't let that happen to my son. You know, he won't have to wait till he's 40 to have this realization. And he's not. He's leaps and bounds ahead of where I was at his age. So I'm blessed for him.
Yeah, sounds like you're doing something right. Well, are there any questions that I didn't ask you that you think are important for me to understand?
I mean, I'm sure I will, but all right, no. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I like my conversation with you because it's objectionable. We don't have to agree on everything. We don't. And I don't have to agree with everybody on everything. But when did it come to a point where, because I think a certain way, that my voice and my opinion didn't matter? You know, it's just another form of racism or group, whatever you want to call it. You know, now, if you're a bail bondsman, you're a money-hungry person. You have no value. You know, we've never been talked to about anything. And the majority of the bondsmen that I know, we don't care about PR bonds for first-time offenders. Go take it, please. We don't care. You know, shoplifting, go ahead. You know, because we know, I hate to say this, we know that they're gonna be repeat offenders because we know the system and it's already been proven. You're saying it hasn't been tested? It has. Go look up New Mexico. The governor of New Mexico put out a video stating to Utah, do not pass bail reform. It is horrible. Alaska, doing the same thing. It is horrible because the people that came up with it are educated, and they're thinking that, well, we're going to give them this pass, and they're going to be so thankful for it, and they're not going to do bad again. Unfortunately, the people that are getting in trouble don't think like that. They just don't. They need to be held accountable. We need to find different ways to get them educated, because again, I keep coming back to education.
Yeah.
We need to double down on education, you know, even if it means giving up on the 30-somethings and just, you know, this new generation, because if my clients that are educated, I don't have problems with them. They're less likely to be repeat offenders. You know, they've made a mistake, they realize that they can't go do X, Y, Z, and they don't come back to me.
No, I appreciate you taking the time out. I know you're busy to talk to me, and like honestly, I'm not upset because I get it. With the heat right now, I wouldn't want to talk to anybody either. You don't know who I am, what side I'm on, what I'm going to do with it. So, like, it has been hard getting people to respond. So, like,
Really? I mean, I can get you some more interviews if you want.
I mean, if you could, like, you would be my hero. Because I'm telling you, to get these 4, it's just been pulling teeth.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm not even upset because it's like, I get the heat right now. I understand why somebody would be skeptical, but I really am trying to be objective about it and go to the source. So.
Well, what do you think that you got from this conversation?
What'd you say?
What did you get from this conversation?
Let's see. From you, well.
Well, has your perception changed at all? Well, what was your perception at first?
So like I told you, my perception at first was always like,
and you're not going to offend me.
No. I'm going to be straight up with you. I'm reading both sides, and I'm seeing the whole, it's predatory, it's robbing minority communities, people shouldn't have to pay. And I'm like, well, you know, I don't like seeing minority communities robbed either. I am a minority. But the more I talk to people, I'm just like, I don't think bail agents are to blame for that. If it's more minorities having to use this system, that's not y'all's fault. That's because maybe we over-police or we arrest more minorities disproportionately. But you aren't the source of that.
Okay, so where do you think the source is then? You're saying over-policing, right? You're saying over-policing. Have you researched or even Googled insurance rates for minorities?
You said insurance rates?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Well, why is it that a minority